Shalom people of God, today is August 6, 2023, yesterday at 11:25 a.m. During worship we received a message from the Lord, and this is what I have come to transmit today. While the pastor was preaching on the theme of how Satan takes control of our souls, the Lord showed me a way. On this narrow way there were barely a few people, who were really very distanced. By that, I mean that when you see a person now, to see a second person you really have to wait a long time, really several moments have to pass, and it was like that for you had to wait for some time to see another person walking this narrow road, and the first person I saw on this narrow way was a woman. She was joyful even though she was dressed in rags, her face was marked by the suffering she endured on earth, thus she was dressed in rags which here represent the pains, the sufferings, the persecutions and the difficult times that she endured. And she walked on this path all alone singing. She praised God continually. The more she advanced the more the winds of persecution blew against her. In addition it was really more and more difficult for her, and the more she advanced on the narrow way the more this path which was already narrowed got smaller. It was a small path really very restricted, but the more she advanced, the narrower the path before her, and she walked alone against the wind, singing. She was tired. But the songs of praise that she sang were like filled with the power of God, and the song of praise restored her, it rejuvenated her, it forged her, it led her to move forward, it encouraged her, in fact it boosted her, which meant that she did not stop despite everything she endured. But when I looked at the opposite side, I saw that there was a very wide way, really wide, I assure you, and there were a lot of things and a lot of people. The broad way was so crowded with people that they were looking for where to put the foot. So many people were crowded together, people were walking and sticking close to each other, and moving forward was not easy. It's like when we observe the way that the grains of sand are stuck together, but this way was so broad. Despite its largeness the people flocked, it was terrible, really it was full to bursting. But the people only multiplied in this path there. The people were so crowded they were really tight on this path, it was very difficult to put your foot down, and there were a lot of colors, it was really very colorful. I saw the colorful clothes, the colorful shoes, the colorful hair, the colorful things that these colorful people had in their hands. They were several colors that struck the eye, and while I was looking at these attractive things, colorful things, the woman who walked on the narrow way was alone on the narrow path. I saw that there was like darkness in this narrow path. In fact it was sinister, the atmosphere was sad and it was isolated, it was really desolate like a desert. Yet on the other side on the colorful broad way there was noises and voices, people who were piled up, and there were shouts of joy. It was really distraction, people were talking and everyone was talking at once, while on the narrow path where the lady was walking it was total calm. That's when scale like stones fell from my eyes and I was granted the spiritual sight to see how things really were, and when the scales fell from my eyes, when I looked at this broad way which had many colorful things, instead of colors it was absolute and total darkness. Thus instead of all these colors which attracted the eyes there was darkness everywhere, and these innumerable people walked in the darkness, and there was a wind blowing to push them to even go quickly. Jesus spoke to the people and said, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in the darkness, but will have the light of life. John 8 verse 12. And, while on the narrow path there was a wind that was blowing against the current to prevent people from moving forward, but in the broad way the mass were not walking against the current like the lady who was walking on the narrow path. Here they were walking in the same direction as the wind which was blowing, and no one resisted this wind, and they all went in common agreement with this wind towards the same direction. When I glanced towards the narrow path, which was at first desolate, sinister, the narrow road which did not attract attention and was a desert, I saw that this narrow path was really lit, its light was dazzling, and this lady that I first saw dressed rags was in a dazzling pure white dress. She was not alone because she was accompanied by angels. I realized that she wasn't walking alone even though I saw with my physical eyes that she was alone. Spiritually it was the opposite. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off every encumbrance and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with endurance the race set out for us. Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and perfecter of our faith. Hebrews 12 verse 1. Then I saw that in the room where were gathered, there was a wide opening in the sky. There was a strong light that gushed out, and it made each person connected to the sky, and it manifested like solar rays which left the sky to touch each person. So I don't know if I should call it that, but it directly connected to each person with the sky. In fact, it was rays of connection, if I have to call it that. Then I saw an activity in heaven. There were angels, many angels, who were really busy preparing the houses of souls. It was as if there will be many souls who would return to heaven in a very short time. It was like when someone called you to tell you that they are coming to your house. The way you prepare everything in the house so that the person can find everything very clean, it was the same activity or preparation in heaven, except that in heaven there is no pressure, it is in total peace. It seems to be hard work, really. It was hustling left and right. Angels were really busy preparing the homes of the saints, and so I question myself, will there be deaths in cascade on earth? There is an angel who knew that I was asking myself this question. He broke away from his group and came to me, and he told me this: that's exactly what you think. The death of a child of the Lord is gain for the kingdom of heaven. The Lord has shortened the days. You must be ready. It is closer than ever, for He alone knows the hour of each person. Go and tell your brothers, this is what we received yesterday. I just did my part by sharing it with you. Truly, brothers and sisters, time does not belong to us. You can get up in a good mood and good health in the morning, and before noon you are gone. You can get up sick in the morning, and in the evening you find yourself healthy, and then you die when you think that everything is fine. You can sleep together the next day someone is gone. Time does not belong to us. Just as the Lord sent this angel to say that it is He alone who knows everyone's time, He knows the time of each one, provided that when He arrives He comes to find us in good conditions, on good terms with Him. We cannot at the same time be friends of the world and friends of the Lord. We can only be a friend of the Lord, and when one is a friend of the Lord, one is necessarily an enemy of the world. And what the Lord asks us to do is for our own good, because He has nothing to gain. It is we who have everything to win. Truly, brothers and sisters, I still urge us to pull ourselves together to get out of distraction in all its forms and to return to the Lord, because the future is bad, and doesn't bode well. I'm talking about the future of the earth. I don't talk about the celestial future unless we really stick to the Lord by obeying His word, by practicing His word, by keeping His commandments. He guarantees us a better future, better than what we can think. I would not have someone's blood on my hands. Really, if this message reaches you, it is because the Lord still wants to challenge you. Even if you think you are ready, examine yourself again. Maybe there is still something the Lord wants you to fix before He come get you. Peace and grace. Shalom.